Hi everyone, it's Mimi. Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'll be showing you how to create this Patriotic glass mason jar tumbler along with a super fun 3D star lid. Everything I used to create this tumbler will be listed and linked down below in the description box along with a few discount codes. With that being said, let's get started. Okay, so here is my mason jar. I have already taped it off at where the threads are at the top with some electrical tape, and as you can see, I've already base painted the entire cup. First, I did scuff sand the entire thing before I taped it off and painted it, just so that the paint had something to grab onto. So I first painted it a flat white, the entire thing, because it is clear. And then I took some red and some blue, and then I did spray the white again just where I felt like it needed it. So it's just going to be like in a diagonal swirl type of pattern. I did some at the bottom. So that is what we are going to be working with. So I just wanted to show you really quick. I got these from Burlington Coat Factory. I was just looking in their home goods section and came across this. It is a 4-pack. Super cute. These are 16-ounce clear mason jar, and it does come with a lid and a straw. So the lid looks like this, which is perfect for the topper that we are going to do, and of course a straw. They are kind of in a white pearl, but of course you won't be able to see that once we're done because we will be glittering it. I'll be using these colors, and this is from the May sub box from BJ's. So I have mixed up about 5 milliliters of the Facet Liquidy Split by KS Resin. I do have a discount code in the description box if you guys want to try this out. This is my go-to resin. I absolutely love it. This is the Liquidy Split UV. I think that's what it's called, but it'll be linked down below. And I'm going to use probably less than 1 milliliters of this 5 mLs that I mixed up here. So I have that really thinly spread. I did pay close attention to the handle because I know that can be tricky. So let's go ahead and glitter this up. So here it is all glittered up. I will go ahead and set this off to the side to fully cure. It probably will only take a couple hours because I use Facet. I'm going to go ahead and remove the tape before the epoxy cures on it. After this has fully cured, I'll go ahead and seal this with a couple sprays of my 2x clear gloss spray, probably up to 3 times, most likely 2 to 3. And then I will go into my first 2 coats of epoxy, let those fully cure, and then we will be back to do the Milky Way portion. So I already have 2 layers of resin on this after I did spray seal it a couple times. The glitter did move a little bit, but that's totally fine. I'm gonna get moving because I am using Liquidy split. I have a very limited amount of time, so I'm going to spread about 10 to 15 mLs on this, and then we are going to go ahead and do our swirls. So I do have 3 colors of mica and pigment paste mixed up. So I have the red, the white, and the blue. And these are the 3 that I will be using. Everything will be linked down below. So I'm going to start with the blue and just going in the direction of how it's already swirling. I'm just going to use my finger. There is no rhyme or reason. I'm just kind of putting it over the blue sections. You can venture out into different colored sections if you want. Don't forget the bottom of your cup. I'm just going to clean off my gloved finger as I go along onto each different color. Now for the red. And here, there's only about 2.5 mLs of epoxy in these because you really don't need a lot. And I don't like to waste resin if I don't need to, but if I have any left over, I usually just put it in some sort of mold so that it doesn't go to waste. I'm sure you guys all know that epoxy is not cheap. And then finally with my white, I'm gonna go in and add that. And then I'm going to actually just kind of manipulate the colors that are already on there, maybe add some more, take away some, so that I get the look that I'm going for. You can also add heat if you want movement. I probably will use my heat gun a little bit. I don't want too much movement because then it tends to just run all over the place. So I'm going to continue working on this and I'll let you guys watch and I'll speed it up so that you guys can see the process and we're not here forever. So I think I'm just going to leave it there because I do have a tendency to overwork things. So I'm going to give it one last torch and then in about 30 to 40 minutes, I am going to go ahead and pull my electrical tape off so that it doesn't cure with the epoxy. And I will go ahead and let this spin and cure for about 3 to 4 hours. And then if it's a little wavy, I will put another coat of epoxy on it. But meanwhile, while this is curing, we can go ahead and work on the lid. So now let's go ahead and work on the lid. So as you can see here, this is the lid that comes with that mason jar, and it does have this like grommet that is silicone. I did want to keep that in there just so that in case the metal rusts, I know it's there for a reason. So I just took one of my silicone straws that I had cut down just so that I don't get any epoxy in the center that I have to clean out later. So I have a bunch of stars here that I made out of resin using the same glitters that I put on the mason jar. And I thought that I would put one of the stars right down the center. So I just took one of my largest drill bits and drilled that, and the hole is slightly bigger than the opening for this straw hole. So I don't even know if this is going to fit, but because it is raised a little bit, as you can see, I kind of dug into it so that it would lay flat up against the top of the lid. Okay, that took some effort, but as you can see, as long as I kind of pull, it is going to lay flat because I didn't want a gap in between where this was touching the lid. So I'm gonna pull it up a little bit and then grab my UV resin. And this is the one I have on hand. This is from Joann. I'm not a big fan of UV resin, except for the fact that it cures super quick. Of course, with a UV light. So this first one is going to be the most challenging. And if you have a better way of doing this, please, by all means, do it that way. I do have a tendency to make everything harder on myself. Not because I want to, it's just how my brain thinks. So I just want to get a good amount of the resin. Even if it oozes out of the side, it's not a big deal because we'll be adding the other stars. So I'm going to hold this down while I take my UV lamp and I'm going to go on the highest setting, let that run for a little bit. It is pretty much adhered on here, but you can see some bubbles. Don't worry about those because they will be all covered up. But I'm just pushing down the star shape against the lid to make sure that the resin is cured. It really doesn't take a lot or a lot of time. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to build this up and then meet you back here once I'm finished. Okay, so I think I went a little ham and went a little crazy with putting all the stars on here. I kind of wanted a certain shape and it just kept growing and growing. I'm sure you guys know, but I did have to do like I think one batch of each mold that I have to create more stars, and this time I didn't make them as thick. I realized the first round they were so thick that it was very hard to layer. So this is what I have so far. As you can see, I've already taped off the side of the lid because I don't want any epoxy getting on there, because now what we're going to do is seal this in. So I'm going to elevate it a little bit, and I have mixed up already 20 milliliters of the KS Resin Liquidy Split, and I'm just going to drizzle all around, trying to get in all the nooks and crannies and basically seal this in so that whoever has this cup can actually wash it and not get any like mildew or anything like that. So take your time doing this. Okay, I think I got it pretty much covered. I am trying to make sure that I don't have any weird areas where like the resin is going to pool. So this is a little tricky. So I'm just going to take my metal star stick here or whatever you have and just kind of scrape any of the hanging drips that I see periodically until I know that it has set and it will no longer be moving. So I know this is a little tedious, but I've never done this before. Maybe I should have contained them all on top of the cup. Maybe I should have contained them all on top of the lid instead of hanging off the side, but if you guys know me, I don't do anything the easy way. Just trying to even the resin out because there are a lot of areas where it can pool up. And if you feel more comfortable doing this with UV resin, by all means, go ahead and do that. I am just not a big fan of UV resin. I try to use it, well, I try not to use it. And if I absolutely have to, then I try to use it on a very minimal basis. That stuff is very strong smelling and it always gives me a headache. So I think it's pretty much all covered. I may have to do a second coat. I'm not sure. Hopefully I don't. But I'm going to also give it a little bit of heat to pop any bubbles that may be on the surface. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and set this off to the side until this fully cures. Because I used the Liquidy split, this should only take about 2 to 3 hours for it to become manageable, where I can pick it up without doing any damage to it. And then I'll see if I need to do another coat or if we can just be done. I think this is turning out super cute. So I'm gonna stop touching it because I have a tendency to overwork stuff. So I'm gonna let this cure and then I will be back with the next step. Okay, so this is what our mason jar looks like after I put another layer of quick coat on top of the marble layer. But I'm loving how that marble layer came out. They're very wispy, and I don't think it distracts too much from the glittered areas. But let's go ahead and place our decal while we wait for our lid to cure. Because I'm right-handed, I'm going to put the handle on the left. And I already went ahead and for this one, I'm going to use this super cute decal that I cut out on my silhouette. I already layered it, just like my other red, white, and blue cup. And I will leave the link to this in the Etsy. I will leave a link to the Etsy shop where I got this. And I think it is going to be so cute right there. And you can see I did do an offset, and that is in a silver glitter. So I thought this was perfect because of all the stars that is going to be on the lid. Oh my gosh, it is so cute. Okay, so I'm going to take the transfer tape off. So I do believe I cut this at 2 1/4 inches wide. So whatever that made it, because the scale is going to be proportional. So I just know that I made the width 2 1/4 inches. So just make sure to measure your surface. But I think that looks so cute. So I'm going to go ahead and put a clear spray over this to protect it and make sure that my epoxy doesn't have any funny reactions, and then probably put 1 to 2 more coats and we will be all done with this portion. So I will be back when I am done so I will let you guys know how many extra coats that I had to do for this.